So today we're going to learn about hashes. So hashes is similar to set and map, but this is the foundations of key value pair, right? Key value pair is something that we can use it for storing the data in a very efficient way. In this hash table, we're going to learn how to store the data in uh, hashes and using key value. Okay, so let's look at the concept on the PowerPoint. If you look at the keys right here, these are the name, and if we pass it on to hash functions or buckets, right? And the hash functions will create a unique hashes. For example, this number, right? So John Smith and Sandra D doesn't have any relations at all. They are very different name, but they generate similar key. So this sometimes happen. Lisa Smith have same last name, but with the John Smith, but it create a different unique key. So it's stored in the key value pair type of uh, object inside the hash. So Lisa Smith is the key, and 521 and that numbers will be the data. So for the John Smith and Sender D, they have a hash collisions. They have to be linked to each other in a way of a linked list type. So first it will be John Smith and then Sender D. So their names are the key, and after that the data. So the trying to searching or traversing the data and trying to look up the data will be big O of n from after hash. So otherwise, if we like something like Lisa Smith, it will be big O of 1, right? Of searching or retrieving the data because it's just one data, right? So this hash table can really reduce uh, the time complexity of searching and traversing the data and adding the data. So yeah, this is why it is really useful for data storing. Okay, so let's go back to hash table. And if we go back to the hash table right here, the challenge asks us to manually implement, remove, add, and lookup. So we have something hash string, the hash functions right here. This will give us, it will generate hash hash code based on string that we pass it on to this hash functions. So yeah, and let's try to add the method add right here, the easiest one. So this dot add, and then just similar to that uh, functions. So key and value will be passed to the parameter, and then we will have to check where hashes hash and pass the key. It will generate hashes, and we will have to check if the hash exists or not in the collections, collections data object that we initialize there, empty object. So if this dot collections dot has own property, and then we're gonna pass hashes. I intentionally do the hashes because of the hash we can't use similar type of, it will be conflict, so that's what I'm worried. It might not be, but whatever, it will work for this one. So if doesn't exist, hashes doesn't exist, then we will have to create here, right? We will have to pass hashes and then create key value pair object for that. After that, we will just pass hashes and then the key and the value. It will store the value. So easy as that for adding the key value. control enter, see if this is work or not. So yeah, add method is there, but we still need to add remove and lookup. So misspell right here has own property, and we forgot semicolon right here. Okay, control and enter. So yeah, item should be added using the hash functions, right? It will. Okay, let's move on to the remove. So remove has a little bit way of detecting if how we can delete the data safely, right? This dot remove method will be something similar to add, but we will have to pass the key, and within the functions we will have to check if the key exists or not, right? First, that will be just like similar to the above. We will have to hash the key, and then if this dot collections, right, and hashes dot has own property key. If the key exists, we will delete this dot collections and hashes and key. So that way we can delete the value on the specific key, but we still need to delete the hash itself if it doesn't have any length, or if data doesn't exist in that hash, right? So if this dot collection, oh sorry, it's not going to be like that anymore. We have to use the built-in method like object dot keys, and we will check the length of the hash. So that will be this dot collections, and it will be hashes, right? And after that we have to length triple equal signs, just to make sure the length is 0 or not. If it's 0, then we will have to delete this dot collections and the whole hash for that specific hash. And let's try and see if this method work or not. Control enter. So it might not work. Yeah, it worked, but we still need to implement the lookup. Okay, so that's it for the remove, and let's move on to lookup. So just like add, we still need to check if the hash exists or not. Okay, so this dot lookup and functions, we still need to pass the key. The lookup will return the data if exists. Okay, and so if not, we will just return null. So var hashes and then hash the key. That if this dot collections dot has own property, and check the hash. If it do exist, we will return the collections hashes. If hashes exist, the key exists, and if the key exists, the data exists, and we return that data. Check if these methods are working correctly or not. So let's try test by control enter, and something is wrong, so it might be just some mistake with the syntax or something like that. So yeah, sure enough, it was the return that we forgot to put. So at the return right here, and control enter, and there we have it. So that's hashTable, manually how to implement the hashTable.